senior BSU political science student. I'm the ethics officer of the ASBSU, and I'm president at Democracy Matters at Boise State University, which is a club dedicated to basically trying to remove the influence of money in politics. As a student, the last 3 years, my tuition has increased. Each year, my Pell Grant has decreased, and my income has remained stagnant. And to top it off, I'm looking at a dismal job market when I graduate this May. My beautiful wife, Sarah, she works full-time to support me, while I go to school full-time, still working 2 part-time jobs, and we still struggle, just like everyone else in this audience today, to pay the bills. Life as a student, it seems like it's getting really hard. I've been trying to spur political involvement at BSU for the last 2 years. While tuition increases, student aid decreases, class sizes grow, availability for classes decreases, and students are forced to spend 2 extra years at BSU to graduate due to that shrinking availability of classes. Loan rates increased, and Idaho still consistently fails to give Boise State students equitable funding with the other universities in the state. Not only, like I said before, job markets are also shrinking at an increasing rate. But students are largely silent. So I have to ask, why the silence? Well, you've heard the testimonies that I've heard today, so one must beg the question, why are the vast majority of Americans, students, teachers, workers, fathers, mothers, now, those of us in the crowd tonight may be excluded from this, but why are the vast majority of Americans largely silent? When we are vocal, why do our political leaders refuse to provide work training, education, and infrastructure, or to meet our needs? Why do they lack the political will, as Dr. Cook mentioned? I believe that the economic problems that we face today are largely symptomatic of a much larger problem, which is the absolute domination of nearly every political branch and department by the interests of the wealthiest few elites in this country. Election campaign finance and the Citizens United era of corporate personhood have alienated an entire nation from the political process and silenced the masses effectively when it comes to determining public policy. We can't even have a meaningful conversation with our government to address these problems unless we have enough money to hire lobbyists to talk to our governments for us. We live in a country whose existence is predicated on the idea that all humans are created equal, and that the only just powers of government are derived from the consent of the human beings being governed, which is supposed to be a government by, of, and for the people, but is really a government by, of, and for civil society, which is otherwise known as the factions created to aggregate and spearhead the interests of the wealthiest few. So, I will end my small testimony tonight with a quote from the late Dr. King in saying, "Let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let us stand together with greater determination. And let us move on in these powerful days, these days of challenge, to make America what it ought to be." Thank you.